Euphrasia officinalis. Look, if you're gearing up for everyday clinical practice or sweating over competitive exams like NEET and AIAPGET, mastering this particular remedy isn't just helpful, it's absolutely critical. Today's explainer is built specifically for the focused learner. We're going to break down this drug using the exact unalterable source text from Allen's Keynotes. Why? Because we want to make sure you have the precise, laser-focused knowledge to confidently tackle absolutely any question examiners might throw your way. All right, here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with the original text and its explanation, hit the keynote summary, introduce a really powerful mnemonic, cover clinical applications, and then wrap up with some high-yield active recall MCQs. Let's get right into it. Okay, I'm going to read the original text straight from Allen's Keynotes. You really need to treat this exact wording as your absolute blueprint for the exam. Here it is. Euphrasia, eyebright, scrofulaceae. Bad effects from falls, contusions, or mechanical injuries of external parts. Arnica. Catarrhal affections of mucous membranes, especially of the eyes and nose. Profuse acrid lacrimation, with profuse bland coryza, reverse of ileum cepa. The eyes water all the time and are agglutinated in the morning. Margins of lids red, swollen, burning.
Yeah, as an examiner, I can tell you what's really interesting here is that direct contrast. Exam boards absolutely love to test your ability to differentiate between remedies. With Euphrasia, you have profuse acrid lacrimation, meaning the tears literally burn the eyes, paired with a bland coryza, where the nasal discharge doesn't burn at all. This is the exact literal reverse of ileum cepa, which gives you bland tears but an acrid burning nasal discharge. Lock that comparison into your memory right now.
Let's unpack that first block of text a bit more. Did you notice the specific cross-reference to arnica when it comes to mechanical injuries to external parts? The text explicitly links Euphrasia to arnica, right there. Plus, its primary sphere of action is incredibly clear, the mucous membranes of the eyes and nose. The clinical picture here is just so vivid, you know. The patient's eyelids are red, swollen, burning, and crucially, they are glued together, or agglutinated, in the morning.
Moving right along to the second section of the original text, listen very closely to the specific triggers mentioned here. Profuse fluent coryza in morning with violent cough and abundant expectoration, aggravated from exposure to warm south wind. When attempting to clear the throat of an offensive mucus in the morning, gagging until he vomits the breakfast just eaten, bryenea. Profuse expectoration of mucus by voluntary hawking, aggravated on rising in morning.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that highly specific gastric response to a respiratory action. Basically, the morning attempt to clear out offensive mucus triggers violent gagging, which actually culminates in vomiting the breakfast they just ate. And honestly, this brilliantly shows why Allen's bracketed remedies are pure gold. You absolutely must immediately associate this exact symptom profile with the bracketed cross-reference bryonia.
All right, let's look at the third section of the original text, which details the female and respiratory specificities. Here we go. Amenorrhea, with catarrhal symptoms of eyes and nose, profuse acrid lacrimation, menses, painful, regular, now lasting only 1 hour, or late, scanty, short, lasting only 1 day, barytocarb, pertussis, excessive lacrimation during cough, cough only in daytime, ferrum natrimure.
Let's clarify that clinical picture, because Euphrasia presents a highly unusual reproductive symptom. We're talking about menses that are severely shortened, lasting just 1 single hour or at the absolute most 1 day. And for that 1-day symptom, the exact cross-reference you need to know is barytocarb. On top of that, in cases of pertussis or whooping cough, your guiding symptoms are excessive tearing during the coughing fits and, this is huge, a cough that occurs strictly during the daytime. That specific daytime timing should instantly bring ferrum and natrimure to your mind.
We'll wrap up the original text by looking at the relations and modalities. Verbatim it says, relations, similar, to pulsatilla in affections of the eyes, reverse of ileum cepa in lacrimation and coryza. Aggravation, in the evening, in bed, indoors, warmth, moisture, after exposure to south wind, when touched, hepersulf.
When we unpack those modalities, we reveal some absolutely critical environmental triggers. Euphrasia is aggravated in the evening, in bed, indoors, and by both warmth and moisture. But pay special attention to that unique aggravation from exposure to a warm south wind. It's a classic exam trick. Furthermore, there's a distinct aggravation from being touched, which the text explicitly tells us to compare with hepersulf. Okay, let's synthesize all of this data into a rapid-fire Keynotes summary. If you remember absolutely nothing else for your exam, you've got to remember these 5 pillars. 1. Acrid tears with a bland coryza. 2. Menses severely truncated to just 1 hour or 1 day. 3. A cough that appears exclusively in the daytime during pertussis. 4. The gagging and vomiting of breakfast when clearing out that morning mucus. And 5. That incredibly unique aggravation from the warm south wind.
Now, to make sure you have perfect recall when the pressure is on in the exam room, I've put together a really simple mnemonic for you. EYES. E stands for eye tearing is acrid. Y reminds us it yields to or is aggravated by the south wind. The second E is for expectation causing the vomiting of breakfast, and S is for short menses lasting just 1 hour or 1 day. Do yourself a favor and lock this EYES mnemonic into your brain right now.
So bridging the gap from your textbook to the actual clinic, how do we use this? Well, the practical application of Euphrasia is primarily seen in acute catarrhalic conditions affecting the respiratory tract and the conjunctiva. If a patient walks in presenting with severe, burning, acrid tears as their primary guiding symptom, Euphrasia should instantly shoot straight to the top of your differential diagnosis list.
All right, it's time for our active recall phase. Let's test your retention with some neat level MCQs. Question 1. What is the characteristic of lacrimation and coryza in Euphrasia? Is it A, bland lacrimation, acrid coryza? B, profuse acrid lacrimation, profuse bland coryza? C, bland lacrimation, bland coryza? Or D, acrid lacrimation, acrid coryza? Go ahead and lock in your answer.
If you chose B, you nailed it. Profuse acrid lacrimation, profuse bland coryza. Getting this right requires strict adherence to the source text. Like we noted earlier, it's the exact phrasing from Allen's Keynotes, and it serves as the crucial reverse presentation of Allium's SEPA. Precision with the text is absolutely paramount here.
Let's move to question 2. According to Allen's Keynotes, Euphrasia shares a relation with which remedy for bad effects from falls, contusions, or mechanical injuries of external parts? Is it A, rustox, B, hypericum, C, arnica, or D, calendula? Think back to that very first segment of the text we reviewed together.
The exact match here is C, arnica. And why is that? Because Allen's Keynotes explicitly places the bracketed abbreviation ARN directly after listing mechanical injuries of external parts. Let me tell you, examiners constantly use these exact bracketed cross-references in Allen's to formulate their absolute toughest questions.
All right, question 3 focuses on those highly specific reproductive symptoms. Euphrasia's symptom of menses lasting only 1 day is cross-referenced with which remedy? Is it A, baritacarb, B, pulsatilla, C, sepia, or D, natrum mur? Think carefully. Which one did we highlight during the explanation?
You should have locked in A, baritacarb. The reasoning comes straight from the source. The text strictly states, late, scanty, short, lasting only 1 day, followed immediately by the bracketed abbreviation for baritacarb. Seriously, never ignore those brackets.
Moving on to question 4. In Euphrasia, the cough is aggravated in which specific condition? A, at night in bed, B, only in daytime and exposure to warm south wind, C, from drinking cold water, or D, lying on the painful side. This one is testing those unique modalities we covered. The answer we're looking for is B, only in daytime or exposure to warm south wind. The text explicitly pairs these unique respiratory conditions together. The daytime-only cough and the aggravation from a warm south wind are absolute signature keynotes of this remedy that you simply must commit to memory.
All right, let's tackle our final active recall question. Question 5. When attempting to clear the throat of an offensive mucus in the morning, gagging until he vomits the breakfast just eaten compares to which remedy? A, nux vomica, B, phosphorus, C, bryona, or D, ipecac?
For this final question, the correct answer is C, bryonia. Once again, the reasoning relies entirely on rote memorization of the source material. Allen's brackets bry directly after this exact, really vivid description of gagging and vomiting the morning breakfast. Rote memorization of these specific relationships is just non-negotiable for exam success.
And that brings us to your revision targets for the day. Your job right now is to go and reread the Allen's Keynotes section for Euphrasia verbatim. Master that distinction with Allium SEPA, memorize the bracketed remedies, and please use the EYES mnemonic daily. So ask yourself, when the pressure is on and that exam clock is aggressively ticking down, are you going to be the student who guesses or the clinician who knows exactly why that warm south wind matters? Master this material, and it will absolutely be the latter. Get studying, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.